I wonder if you can get into Lindy and Stramel, what it's looking like this week for
Sure.
them, and I mean those are a couple of big parts of kind of what's developed there lower line wise.
We're still trying to do some work with Lindy, but I don't know if he'll be available this weekend. I doubt that. Charlie's in a good spot as of today. And again, as you understand, and people out there, we're kind of on a daily watch whenever those things happen. But he's coming through Sunday and Monday. He's in a good spot.
We've talked a lot about Kyle this year. If you look at your plus minus, you got a lot of defensive guys that are at the top of your teams in that statistical category. I guess I'm wondering if you can kind of talk about the other parts of the defense and kind of what's really kind of made it work in front of Kyle.
Well, depending on what weekend, what day you're talking about, it's. I think those numbers have been accomplished in different ways. At times, unfortunately, we have left Kyle on an island where he has had to be better than good, where he's needed to be special, and so he's maybe made some mistakes disappear through his play. Early in the year, I thought our guys did a really good job up front at coming back and helping our defensive core, playing connected, defending in groups of five, not giving a tremendous amount of outnumbered rushes to in the idea of opportunities for the other team. And then there's been different times where our defensive core has gone out and had to wear a lot of rubber, have had to block a lot of shots, had to make some defensive plays under duress where the other teams got outnumbered situations. So it's been different throughout our season. When we're at our best, it's when we give Kyle the opportunity to see it and stop one and be done. And the only way that we do that is when our defensive core are doing what they should do. Our forwards are coming back and being connected with our defensive core so that we're getting out of our zone and not spending extended amounts of time there. The only other piece that I would say that has happened to us also is when we've gotten into penalty trouble, where we've had to run our penalty kill or Kyle at extended amounts of time throughout a period. Recently, the guys have been disciplined. I hope we can continue that in to what we're going to have this weekend when we go on the road.
What's Jack Horbach's arc been this season? Because it seems like he's a guy that just keeps popping in with, whether it's a hit or a steal, a goal, you name it. It's something every weekend, it seems like. How does that kind of benefit the totality of things?
Well, first, I appreciate you recognizing that with Jack. If there's one word that I would use to describe him on his dailies, it's energy. And that energy comes out in different ways, whether that is through a block shot, whether that is through a good stick, hunting down a one-on-one, coming back into our end, penalty killing. In my mind, his role is continuing to grow, at least from the coaching standpoint. I feel comfortable with Lindy potentially not being in the lineup this weekend. Jack's played center before. He's taken faceoffs before. That energy is sustainable. He's just shown that from the beginning of the season until now, and he just, he has scored some very timely goals for us. And again, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional, vocal, he just seems to be omnipresent in our locker room at having a positive impact. So the only time I've seen it go the opposite way is when he just gets over the line a little bit because he is so emotionally driven and maybe takes a penalty. But he's been really good, I think, over the back half at being a constant for us in a lot of those different areas and being a positive impact for us.
Friday night, Notre Dame had, a couple of the 5-minute opportunities, and we talked about that after the game. But just big picture, looking at the power play, what do you feel like is missing from that group, or that you guys have to achieve to be able to be more successful on the power play? Because ultimately, it looks like it's led to success, when it comes to game wins. So what do you feel like is missing from the power play unit right now?
Some puck movement, some decision making, some confidence. And I think you only get that through success, repetition. We'll be working on that. We're going to continue to work on it. I do think when you pull someone like Cruz Lucius from that mix for us, we don't seem to have that same swagger that you'd like to see your power play have. And I think that's just we've got to keep going. I thought Saturday night, two guys get together in 14 and 11 that score a big time power play goal for us. It's a tip in. It's 14 getting it to the net and us having some net front presence. Simon Tassie's playing his best hockey that he has this entire season over the last 3 weeks. 4 weeks, and we're going to continue to need that. But when we've been best on the power play, it's when we've had 2 units. Now, from the coaching side, if that continues to go in the direction that it is, maybe we'll look at adjusting that and loading up 1 unit and see if we can get 1 going. But I want to give the guys the opportunity to get a little bit of their confidence and their swagger back. Now, the only way we do that is by going out and executing. You look on Saturday. Our power play unit did almost everything but score prior to Simon Tassie getting that goal. I thought we drew momentum from that, and we've talked multiple times about that in these press conferences. And I think that's something that's moving in a positive direction, even though they didn't finish. I thought we took some energy and some momentum from that power play.
If you look at Ohio State this week, obviously their record isn't the greatest. These last couple of weeks, you've had these, really intense, emotional type series at Minnesota in Notre Dame. I guess I'm wondering, is this the kind of week where it's one of the challenges is just making sure guys continue to stay locked in, or at this point in the season, are you really kind of past worrying about that kind of stuff with this group?
In this league, you have to be past that by now. If you don't play well, you're going to get beat. And depending on how you play, you could get embarrassed. I don't care who you're playing in our league. You have to go out and earn your points. And we've done that in some peaks and some valleys over the last 2 weekends in our play. We found a way to defend our home ice. Now we're going to go into a place that anytime you go on the road in the Big Ten, you're going to have to go and earn it, and it's not going to be any different. They know that the playoffs are coming. We know the playoffs are coming. We're both trying to hone our group to be as good as we can be once that puck drops in the second season. So for us, it's just about staying on our dailies. Our group has done a good job of that, and then managing with us playing as consecutive weekends as we're getting to here over the bottom half of the second half. It's important for us to manage our weeks. So we took a little log off the fire yesterday to get a little bit more rest. And now we'll get back at it and hopefully be able to can a couple of days here before we get on the road and go to Columbus.
When you say Simon's playing his best the last 2 or 3 weeks, what are the metrics? Maybe not necessarily numbers, but in your mind, what's the building of that? How has he done that compared to maybe what he was done earlier in the season?
Consistency. And what I mean by that is the start of a game to the end of the game, and everything in between. He's starting to become a heavier player consistently with and without the puck. There was an instance in the last game where we had started to change. There were 2 other forwards that weren't on the rink. Puck's in Notre Dame's end. He goes in, finishes a check, good stick, grabs a puck, pulls it off the back wall, and we were able to maintain offensive zone possession because of his heaviness and going in and playing the right way. He's playing better defensively, not getting caught outside the dots as maybe as he had before. We had that one goal that ends up getting scored when he was in the defensive zone and a guy got to his back door. His awareness coming back into our zone, I think, has grown dramatically, and it's allowed him to get more puck touches. And I just think anytime that somebody has success, whether it is the numbers you're talking about with goals and assists, he's got a lot of confidence in his game right now, and hopefully that can continue.
It's been, I guess, a month or 2 since you guys have been on a 4-game road stretch. So, to you, I mean, how important is this road stretch, and what's the message going into it, regardless of the record of the team on the other side?
Well, for us, we're we're continuing to try and grow. Let's just say Lindmark's out of the lineup. That's opportunities for some other people. And I mean, not just opportunities in 5-on-5 play, but, Owen took a position on one of our power play units. He was first over the boards on our penalty kill. So it's not just the amount of minutes, it's the importance of the minutes that Owen owned while he was in the lineup that we're going to have to distribute to others. And it's a great opportunity for those players to say, hey, you know what, when, knock on wood, when Owen gets back, we've got other people that can do the job that he's doing, because we're going to need them to over this weekend and over the next couple of weekends, depending on how long Owen's out. So we need those young guys to take advantage of that opportunity and grow. And so for us, this weekend's really important, because as you continue on, you get into the playoffs. We want to play at home as long as possible, and then take what is given down the road. If we're fortunate enough to be in the NCAA tournament, you're not playing at home. So we've got to continue to grow as a group when we go on the road and make sure we handle our own business.